And this morning we're going to work again. I'm kind of doing, have I been doing like Thursdays, kind of pelvic floor decor? I've kind of been doing a Thursday thing with that. But so we're going to work again with the territory of the pelvic floor. So, and if I haven't seen you before in here, let me do a quick review, and let me encourage you to be supportive of yourself as you work with trying to place your felt sense into a place in your body. I know it is difficult. It reminds me of, for example, last night, as I reached over to my husband with my big toe in bed, and I was trying to find this place on his leg where I know there's this little mole. It's at the back of him. He can't. And I said, "Is that little mole you have back there?" And he goes, "Lynn, I don't know. I can't see it." And I said, "Oh, well, there's many places we cannot see in our bodies, but that doesn't mean we can't try to go there and feel them in a different way." I'm not saying this about, being able to feel this mole that you can't see. I'm saying it more as like there is some very richness in exploring places. And the place that we've been exploring and spending so much time with has been the pelvic floor and its relationship to the center of the pelvis. So if this feels, if you feel frustrated by working with this or just confused, you are not alone. In fact, I think all of us do. I think we all, it doesn't come like that. And I've been working with this for over a year. So to really get connected to this place, it's time. It's time, it's patience. And thank you for putting your attempting to do this. Why do I think it's valuable to spend time working in this way? Is because of its effect on the hip joints, the knee joints, its relationship above and below, right? Because we often forget the pelvis, the link between our legs, our pelvis, and our spine. This is going to affect us below and above in small ways and bigger ways. So I think it's quite amazing. And so let me just review. We've divided the pelvic floor into 4 quadrants. First, we've divided it in half. We've taken it and divided it from, let's see, that we'll go right side up like that. So here's the pubic bone, and here's your tailbone. Now, when you go to these places, I'm asking you to go to the inside of them. When you go to the pubic bone, I'm asking you to go to the underside of your pubic bone. When you go to your tailbone, I'm asking you to go to the inside of your tailbone, not the outside of your tailbone. So we could say we divide the pelvis into a left pelvic floor and a right, And then we also divided it into a front and a back. And then we were calling, we'd say left front, root, left back, root, right back, right front. Those are the areas we've been talking about. We've also been working a lot with knowing that, so the borders are like for the left front is going to be the underside of the pubic bone, the inside of your sitting bone, and the perineum. So that's the left front, but look at all the borders of it. This full border all the way across. All this area is the left front root, for example. Or if we went to the back right, which is going to be bordered by perineum, the inside of the sit bone again, the underside of the sitting bone, and the tailbone. And so that territory is, you know, it's hard to place your felt sense there, but you can. I know you can. It just takes, you know what, the mind, it says, I can't. The mind is all about doubt and fear. Have you figured that out yet? We learn it every single day where, we decide we're going to do something and then the doubt shows up or the fear shows up. And so, we want to quiet that for this practice and just go there. And then we were, where are we going? We were we're going up to the core of the pelvis. We said the core is between just above the inside of your pubic bone. So it's a little higher, and the front of your sacrum. There's that distance, and the midpoint we're calling the center of the pelvis. So the center of the pelvis is not the pelvic floor in this instance. Sorry, I know this doesn't exactly show you. I can't exactly show you, can I? This place that's in the middle. It's several inches above. And so you're reaching on a diagonal, either up to the core or from the core back out on a diagonal. All right. So that's the territory. We've been working on this for weeks. And then one of the things I'm going to bring into class today is going to be, for example, if in sitting right now, you find you're sitting and you feel there's your sit bones, and see if you can connect to the inside of your sitting bones and the line from the inside of your sitting bones all the way towards your inner tailbone. And in some poses today, I'm going to have you notice whether you might feel like I can feel it in my own body right now, that if I look at the back, put my felt sense in the back root, both sides, the space between my perineum, tailbone, and sit bones, I notice that one side is a little narrower. One side for me is not as broad at this back root. And so even in sitting right now, I can try to broaden the side that is more narrow. Without moving, I'm not moving from moving my legs around to do this. I'm broadening this from putting my felt sense there and seeing if with that, I can take that part of my pelvic floor and actually widen it out a little bit. So that's an area we're going to work with today, is broadening laterally in some poses. And we'll still go back to working with, when am I going to reach from back root diagonally to the core? Or when am I reaching from the core of my pelvis diagonally outward? In what poses? Do you feel okay? Are you feeling like you want to squeeze your head together with your hands and, Okay, so just be good to yourself. And if you're in the pose and you just feel your mind going, breathe, relax, go back to what you know and do that. Okay? Okay, no worries. We have a great practice, I think. So let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat. You're welcome to close your eyes, to rest your hands in your lap, to lengthen your spine, and to drop down into your breathing. If you're comfortable dropping into your ujjayi, then I invite you to bring in an easeful ujjayi this morning, balanced and easeful. And this is Mary Oliver. It's called Mysteries. Yes. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity while we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have all the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. At the bottom of your next exhale, release any control on your breath. Join your hands in front of your heart, honoring your presence, honoring the sense of wonder or curiosity. What a gift. This morning, we'll chant the sound of Om, and we'll sing Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings in all realms find peace and happiness, that sense of wonder, be alive. So taking a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. With your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart and release your hands. And if you're in Oregon, you might have felt a sense of astonishment or amazement. Can you guys hear me? Or is the sound adjusting? You know, the sound does that. Not well, it'll come back. I think it'll make its way back, because that's what Zoom seems to do. Hang on a second. All right, let's see if that's better. Can you hear me? Okay. So if you're in Oregon and you stepped outside this morning, I don't know if you've been outside, but I will tell you that one thing I noticed that amazed me already was stepping outside and feeling like the heat from the sun this morning. Like the sun this morning, there's a warmth that was behind it as it came and struck me. And I was astonished. I was like, wow. So just that, I actually, it surprised me so much that I actually think it probably is going to linger in me for a while, because I wasn't expecting it. So anyway, but Lynn, hey, it's in the past now. Moving on. All right. So to start our class, we're going to come up to standing. You're going to go over to your chair and take downward facing dog. So hands can be either up on the chair, or they might be, if you don't have a chair, you could put them up on blocks, or you could take a half uttanasana at the wall, or a wall dog. There's a dog now, Diego. I'm going to, here, baby. You want a blanket? Here. You want a blanket? Get up. There you go. Climb up there, you cute. All right. So if you switch your chair, if you're using a chair, and whichever shape you take, can you bring the feet a little closer together? Feet closer together today. And can you draw your felt sense into the space between your perineum, your inner sitting bones, and your inner tailbone? You find that space. And do you notice that one side, the distance, if you were to divide those two back roots, down the middle there, and the distance from one inner sitting bone towards the inner tail, or from the inner tail to the inner sitting bone, do you notice how one side might be narrower than the other side? Can you go to the tailbone side that leads up to the perineum and broaden out laterally on the narrower side? All right, and then we're gonna step forward towards your chair. And now let's take we're gonna take side angle with your chair. So can you stand on your left leg? And so my left foot's gonna be back just a little. It's gonna have a slight turnout. And the right foot is gonna go up onto the seat of the chair. I'm gonna bend my right knee. And I could either bring my right hand can either find the back of the chair, or my right forearm might be on the front thigh, although I kind of like reaching more towards the back of my chair. My left leg is back, side ankle, and the left arm forward. So can you find the core of the pelvis? Where's the center of the pelvis? That space between pubic bone and the front of the sacrum, just above the pubic bone and the front of the sacrum. Find the core of the pelvis and reach it on the diagonal to the back, left, front root. So you're reaching on that diagonal. And then if you go to the back, on the back leg, the space between tailbone, inner sit bone, and perineum, and can you broaden that a little lateral? Broaden it laterally out towards the sitting bone. And then reach from that space back up to the core of the pelvis. And then we'll inhale, come out. And we're going to take second side. So the right leg will be the back leg. It has a slight turnout, like side angle. Left foot comes up on the seat of the chair. You bring the left shin forward. You can take your left hand, maybe just to touch the chair. Right arm overhead. We first went to the core. Where is it? Where is that space between just above the pubic bone and the front of your sacrum? Where's the midpoint? And from that midpoint, can you reach into the right front root, which is bordered by inner pubic bone, inner right sitting bone, and the perineum. So you're reaching from the core of the pelvis into that. There you go. Good. And then can you go to the back root of the back leg? Can you go to the inner right sitting bone, the inner tailbone, and perineum? So get yourself in that space. And can you broaden from the tailbone perineum side of that space all the way out towards the inner right sitting bone? So you're broadening laterally through there. Yes. Cool, Sandra. Very cool. And then lastly, if you're still with it here, you're going to reach from the back root up to the core. All the way up to the core. All right. And then you're going to go ahead and step out of that. And can you take downward facing dog again with the seat of the chair? Walk the feet back so that the feet are behind the hips. You take the feet back so they're a little behind the hips. And let's bring the feet toward each other so it'll be a narrower stance. And once again, drop your felt sense into the back root. And can you broaden laterally? One side probably needs more of your, needs your felt sense more than the other. One side, you feel one side narrower at the back root of the pelvic floor. So you might broaden that one side laterally. Great. All right, and then we'll walk back up to the chair. Okay, so we're going to take a twist. We're going to take Marichyasana 3. We're going to use the chair. I'm going to take one of my blocks and put that on my chair seat. And I'm going to take one of my blankets and put that on the ground. So right now I'm going to stand with my the right side of my body towards the wall or door or whatever. My left heel is going to be up on the blanket a little. My left heel is elevated. And my right foot is going to go up onto the block on the chair. If this is too high, then just have the right foot on the chair seat. Okay, so here we are. So first let's reach from, let's find the core of the pelvis. Let's find that spot that's between the pubic bone. Where's the upper inner pubic bone? Can you go a little above it? And then can you go straight back to the front of the sacrum? Where is that? Can you put your felt sense in the center of that space? And then can you reach from there all the way down into the standing leg, the left front root. So you're reaching on that diagonal from the core to the inner left pubic bone, inner left sitting bone, perineum. Reaching down. When you do you feel yourself become, longer? And then we're going to turn towards the right, keeping that reach there. So the right hand's on the wall. I'm taking my left hand to my outer right knee. And I want to try to keep reaching down into my standing leg. Okay. And then can you bring your felt sense into, on the bent knee, the back root between your tailbone, your inner right sitting bone and perineum. Do you feel, can you come all the way through all that space? So if your attention lands in just one spot, can you make your attention land into all of that space? And reach that back up towards the core. It goes on a little bit of a diagonal inward. Still reaching into the standing leg. And then we'll release. And we're going to take the second side. So you'll have to just move your blanket around to your other side. And so that now you're going to stand on the right foot. And when you do, you can have the right heel elevated a little, several inches. Your left foot up on your chair or on a block on your chair. First, let's drop the felt sense into where's the center of the pelvis. Where is this place? That's a midpoint between just above the pubic bones, straight back towards the front of the sacrum. And can you find the midpoint? And from that midpoint, can you reach into that space that's bordered by the inner right pubic bone, the inner right sitting bone, and the perineum? Can you reach from the core all the way into that space and all the way down in the inner thigh to the right heel? So you feel that reach. Then we're going to exhale. We're going to turn towards the wall. So left hand's on the wall, right hand comes across. Still reaching into the standing leg. And then can you find the back left root, which is bordered by your tailbone, your inner left sitting bone, and the perineum? Can you find that whole quadrant? And can you reach from that back left root up towards the core of the pelvis? So it's a diagonal reach. As you turn, what happens? Alrighty, and then let's exhale, and we'll step back out of there. Let's take the block off of our chair, and we can move our chair just out of the way or whatever for the moment. You're gonna come back to your mat, take the feet wide apart. You've got your blocks if you need them. Okay, and we're gonna take hands up on the hips, feet are parallel. Inhale, lifting through the top of the breastbone, and exhale, we're bowing forward. Bowing forward, wide-legged forward fold. Hands come down to blocks. So as you bow forward, with hands either on blocks or the floor, but let's have the legs straight. And do you feel in your body, do you feel how the back of the pelvic floor, that back root on both sides is broad, and the front root is more narrow? You get the sense. The back root, back pelvic floor broadens laterally, and the front root narrows toward the pubic bone, towards the pubic symphysis. They narrows, comes toward each other. All right, and then we'll take the hands, shift them up to the hips. Inhale, come up. Exhale, let's step the feet together. Inhale, let's lift both arms. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. And on your own, 2 more times. With the length of your inhale, lift your arms. Take time with the exhale as you bring your hands back in front of the heart. One more. Releasing the hands. Mountain pose. And in mountain pose, you're welcome to close your eyes. Just notice how your the feet on the ground and where the weight is in your feet. Is it more in the ball or the toes? Are the toes gripping the ground? Can you relax your toes? Can you shift just a little bit of weight back into the heels, the full inner and outer heel, the full circumference of the heel? Okay, then we're gonna let that go. Let's step the feet wide for a triangle pose. Triangle pose. And so if you take a block or 2 or whatever you need, you're gonna go to your right first. So your right foot's gonna come out, your left heel drops back a little further. So the block is at the right outer shin. Let's inhale when you're ready. Take your arms out. And exhale, coming to triangle. You could bring the back hand on your hip to start. So we want to balance the weight in the hips. We want to balance the weight in the hips. Oftentimes what happens is we have a lot of weight at the front outer heel. So just notice, is that true for you? Is there more weight on the outer front heel? What happens when if you just draw that outer right hip in a little more towards the core of the pelvis? Do you feel the weight shift in the front foot? So it's balanced between the inner and outer heel. Okay. And then if you go to the core of the pelvis, so let me go back to the front foot for a moment. When you balance the weight in the front foot and you felt the weight shift, and let's remember this goes all the way down the right inner side, all the way into the right foot, so that that leg is stable and steady. But I want to avoid, Lise, I do want to be careful that I'm not gripping around the right greater trochanter. I drew it towards midline. I drew all the way to my core, but I'm not going to grip around that. Then I'm going to go to on the back leg, the back root between the tailbone, the inner right sitting bone and perineum. So can you land in there? And can you lengthen that all the way back up on that diagonal towards the core of the pelvis? What happened to your torso when you did that? You might take the left arm and reach it up. And then let's inhale, come up. And let's take the second side. Second side. So you got a block at your left outer shin. The back foot has a slight turn in, front foot is straight ahead. When you're ready, inhale and take the arms out. And exhale to triangle. You might take the back hand on the hip so you're not distracted by something that's going on with your shoulder. And then on the front leg, where's the weight in the front foot? You might even, Lynn, pull your block closer to your left ankle. There you go. That's it. Okay, so where's the weight in the front foot? Is it balanced in the front foot? Were you able to draw from the left outer hip all the way into the center of the pelvis? And then can you go into the back leg? Can you land at the space between the inner right tailbone, the inner right sitting bone, the inside and the perineum? Where is that? And you might, Claudia, I can't tell for sure, but just make sure, is your left hand on the outside of your left knee, your block? Okay. So you've got that back root, and you're going to reach from the right back root to the core. Yes. Yep. That's it, Carol. That's it. And then, great, Carol. I love seeing this turn of your thoracic spine. And then, Carol, take the right arm and keep going up to the sky. Let's see where that goes. Bravo. Bravo, Carol. Wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So like when I see you, what I see is like embodiment. You, each of you, like present in your body. And then inhale and come up. And then we'll release the arms and we'll step the feet back together. Yeah. And that's one thing I love about this, about working more with the inner body. It's like I get to go to these places in my body that maybe I've never been, or I'm really just getting to know better. It takes like years of practice. But if I can get to know these places better, I'm just curious what could happen. Okay, so now can we go back to I want to do a revolved side angle, and I'd like to do it with the chair, if that's okay with you. So I'm going to go back to bringing my chair onto my mat or whatever. And we're going to take a revolved pose. So let's make the right foot be the back foot. And we're going to take the left foot up on the seat of the chair. You're going to bend your left knee. All righty, here we go. And we're going to bring the right arm across to the outer left knee. Hands could come Anjali Mudra. And then take your felt sense into the back right root between your right tailbone and your right inner sitting bone and your perineum. Can you broaden the back right root laterally? Broaden from that inner right tailbone all the way out to goes along that whole side to the inner right sitting bone. All the way up then to the core. And then we're going to release. And take the second side. So now the right foot's going to go up on the chair, left foot back. Sorry, I misplaced my glasses. Oh dear. Okay, so right foot back, left foot forward. And you're going to take your as you bring that right shin forward, you're going to take your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Hands can come into Anjali Mudra. That's it. You might, Peggy, I don't know, but either will maybe your chair is a little taller. Yeah. You see if you can bring the right shin forward more. Can the right shin go? Can you more deeply bend the right knee? Yeah. Okay. So now let's see. And Claudia, you're going to turn towards your bent knee, because we're doing a revolved other way. Turn towards. Yes. There you go. So the left outer elbow is trying to come, or maybe it's just the arm. It doesn't matter. And maybe the hands go in Anjali Mudra, or maybe you can also reach the right arm overhead if that's easier. And then you're going to reach back into the right, excuse me on the directions, left heel. So Peggy, you're going to really reach back into the standing leg. Reach way back there. Yeah, and when you do, you're going to feel that maybe the torso comes a little more forward. Okay. And then, thank you, Lise. This is good. Can you find the back root on the left leg? Inner tailbone, inner sitting bone, perineum. Can you broaden laterally? So out towards this inner sitting bone side of that root. When you do, what happens? Do you feel yourself turning more deeply? Okay. And then you'll release back to center. And let's take good recovery. Let's take the downward dog with the chair. Downward dog with the chair. And you might even, you can lean the chair against the wall or chair up against the bed or somewhere so that the chair doesn't feel unstable. And again, we notice, and we can bring the feet close together again. We can walk the feet close to notice the back root. What is it like? Is it the same as it was toward the beginning of class? Alrighty. Thank you. And then walk yourself towards your chair. And I want to take a supported pose, Let me show you the options. So if I have my chair there, and if I have a block, here's one option, a block that is kind of tall, like one's tall, one's medium. If I have a bolster, I'm just gonna take the bolster like that. Or I might have to lower this. There we go. So I actually have that one block a bit on an angle. So the bolster will be supported. If I have a bolster, and I'm going to sit in front of the bolster, I might take a blanket. I could either go straight legs, or some of you might like, I'm going to take a blanket, I'm going to roll it up lengthwise, bring the soles of the feet together, wrap the blanket around my ankles, lower shins, lean back, and reach my arms back. Where's my chair? Chair. Maybe my arms reach the chair. Maybe my bolster's so thick. Maybe my arms don't reach my chair. And I'll just reach them wide. So this is one option. If you don't have a bolster, I'm not sure if the blankets will have enough stiffness. So we're probably better if we won't use the chair. If you don't have a bolster, then you won't use the chair. You'll just take your blankets and stack them, 2 of them. You could take a third blanket to be a pillow. And we'll use the blocks to take, we're sitting, remember, in front of the blankets, not on it. Blocks at the outer thighs. So you could be here. So you're either in that reclined, little more opening pose. Legs can be straight out. Or you can be in this reclined, more Baddha Konasana. And here you have the opportunity to notice the front root, if the legs are in more of the Baddha Konasana shape. Can you get a sense of the front root? And from the midline that distinguishes the left from the right, can you broaden laterally? So lateral, away from the midline. Just a few more breaths there in this place. All right. And then you're welcome to go ahead and come out of that. And then can we take, if your knees are all right, sitting on the heels like this. Otherwise, if your knees are not happy about that, you might have a blanket behind the knees. We're going to take, the knees are going to be wide apart. If my knees are super unhappy, I might try a blanket behind my knees. If sitting back on my heels. Otherwise, if I'm okay sitting on my heels, I've got my feet together, my knees wide apart. If I have a bolster, I'm going to bring that forward. First, I don't know if I need it to be up on blocks. Or if I don't. Anyway, I've got a bolster or a couple blankets that I'm pulling in close. And then I'm going to take another blanket and kind of roll it up so it's going to go, pull it in to go under my ribs. I can have a block out here. You're going to come forward. So here, with my blanket close in, I want to keep my lumbar spine long here. As I come back into a child's pose, I can either have my head on a block, my head on the bolster or my blankets. If that's the case, then I'll take my hands forward on my blocks. So I just need to make sure my head is supported, my low back is long in this place of resting. If I don't have my hands on my blocks, I can also just hug my bolster. If having my head face down is not comfortable, I can turn my head one way. Excuse me. Okay, then let's walk ourselves back from that and let's have our blocks available because we're going to set up for a supported shoulder stand. So if you take one blanket towards the top of your mat, that's going to be for your shoulders. 1 or 2 blocks available. And let's take your strap as well. And let's make a loop in the strap. That's probably about the width of your upper arm bones, or, slightly narrower. When you lie down, move that blanket out of the way, not to distract you. When you lie down, you're going to have the shoulders are on your blanket, the head is on the floor. You're going to lift the pelvis and put either one block under the bony pelvis, maybe a second block. If you've got the openness, we haven't stretched the front of the hips today, so You know, you might not, 2 blocks might feel like too much. And then the strap goes beyond the blocks, between the blocks and your feet, hands in the strap, palms facing toward each other. This is a supported bridge. So you could always stay there. Or you bring the knees up and the legs up. The gaze is more toward the knees than the toes. Or if the eyes are closed, the eyeballs are more turned toward the knees. And as I press out on the strap, I also feel a lift at the front of the chest. So I could either be in a supported bridge or I could be in a supported shoulder stand. All right. And then if the legs are up, we'll bend the knees, touch them lightly to the ground. And you'll take one block away. And then can you walk towards the head so that you put your pelvis on the blankets and the head and the shoulders on the ground? So the pelvis is still slightly higher and just resting for a moment. All right. And then let's roll over to one side and use your arms to press yourself back up. We're going to take, let's take Ardha Matsyendrasana 1. So what does that mean? You can either sit on the ground or you could sit on a block. You might, you could have that much height, or a blanket if you need it, or the floor itself. How do you know? All right, well, let's just see. So you're going to take your right heel towards the left sitting bone and the other foot across. You're going to turn towards the taller leg. You're turning towards your left. You can take and clasp that knee in the elbow or just with your hand. So as you turn towards your left, towards that lifted knee, let's go into the back left root from the inner tailbone to the inner sitting bone. So you have to travel that whole space to the inner left sit bone. Where's the perineum? And can you broaden laterally on that back left root? Can you broaden laterally? So you're going from the space between the tailbone and the perineum out towards the inner left sitting bone. And then from that back left root, can you lengthen all the way up towards the core of the pelvis? All right, let's release that. And let's take the second side. So when you take the second side, either side, you do want to take a moment to balance the weight in the hips. And this is when sometimes sitting up on height is useful, right? So sometimes sitting up on a block can be a really good thing in order to get the weight balanced in the hips. All right, so you're turning towards your right. Drop the felt sense into the back right root. So from that inner right tailbone, travel towards the perineum. And then that space, can you broaden laterally out toward the space bordered by, like towards the sitting bone, the inner right sitting bone of that back right root. And then from the back root, the whole back root from the inner sitting bone to the inner tailbone perineum, that whole territory, can you lengthen up towards the core of your pelvis? All right, and then we'll release. Let's take both legs straight. And give the legs a good support. Thank you, knees, for letting me do that work. Okay. So I want to take this to pranayama. This pranayama is going to be working with those 4 quadrants. But let's take a blanket that's folded in half lengthwise on your mat. Another blanket to go at the top that's going to go under the head. I'm going to take 2 blankets like that. 2 blankets to go under the head and 1 blanket to go under the spine. You'll sit in front of those blankets on the ground, not on the blanket, legs out straight, and we'll lie back. Just adjust the support for the head. Oh, and here's another piece. Sorry, I just remembered another part that was kind of nice. Can you take your strap and put it around, you make a loop, and you're gonna put it just around the lower shins and make it to be able to hold the legs together. So my strap is around, sorry about the chair, the strap is around the lower shins. All right. And then if you have another blanket or something with a little weight, that might feel nice to either cover yourself with, but also I like having a little weight on the belly. My blocks aren't very heavy. If I had a cork block here, I'd put it right above my pubic bone. But if I don't, and I had another blanket, I'm going to put it on my belly. Anyway, a little weight above the pubic bone on the belly. My legs are relaxed because the strap is holding them. And then once we're all set up, I'll talk you through the pranayama. So some of you are going to remember that we were doing some like pranayama that was breathing into the pelvic floor. We were going in the left to the core and from the core out the right. I'd like to invite you today to be working more with the 4 quadrants in that alternate kind of nadi shodhana way. So if you take a breath in through both nostrils right now, and then just a soft exhale. And then with the inhale, from the left front root to the core, and the exhale out the right front root. Inhale right front root towards the core of the pelvis, and exhale to the back right root. Inhale back right root. Exhale to the left back root. Inhale back through that left root. And exhale out the left front root. I'll go one more time. I'll guide you around. Inhale left front to the apex at the core. Exhale to the right front root. Inhale right front. Exhale right back. Inhale right back root to the core. And exhale left back root. So it's kind of like going all the way around the clock. Inhale left back root. And exhale left front. So you can keep going at your own pace, with the length of your breath. Take your time. If breathing into the in and out of the 4 quadrants is really disturbing for you, then you might just breathe. You could just divide the 2 sides of the pelvic floor into a full left and a full right. And you could just do it that way instead of all 4 quadrants. Now, the next time that you exhale into the left front root, take your time. You'll just let go of any control on the breath. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. Allowing your breath to deepen. Just making a mindful transition over to one side. Using the support of your hands to come back to sitting. Joining your hands in Anjali Mudra. Just honoring once again the unknown. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your practice this morning.